What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ace P. I'm here with Murgo. You're watching G Nice TV, and this is the come up.
You are now watching Masters.
Hey, I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
1 to the 2.
Sample bass and drum break.
Hey Ace, we got another one. You are now watching Masters. 1 to the 2, 3 to the 4. 1 to the 2, 2, 3 to the 4. 1 to the 2, 3 to the 4. We don't wanna hear that weak shit no more. Black on both sides, I've been feeling like yes and babe.
So the two main staples in my production.
1 to the 2, 3 to the
A lot of sports, football, ran track. Other than that, just like either probably getting in trouble or trying to stay out of trouble, really.
yes and babe, gotta total the track every
To be like, probably my starting point where I really got like fascinated with production was early Kanye stuff, just because that was coming out when I was like at a prime age for that shit. And he like, I mean, sample based shit was just like what he was doing, but then he was doing stuff with like Pete Rock, which really led me into like some 90s shit. You know, from there, DJ Premier, RZA, you know, and that really like is just a rabbit hole of a ton of shit. But like RZA for me was one of the biggest influences, and even now I think a lot about like interviews I've heard him talk about giving beats to a lot of different kinds of people and all that, and I try and do the same kind of thing and just give beats to the right people.
I seen my first murder in 05 from the lake.
I had heard, I want to say it was his 5, I mean I heard a lot of his stuff, but he had a few tracks on 5 for 5 that I heard and I was like, shit, I could get him some beats. Like I feel like he would sound, if he sounds good over this, he would sound good over some of the shit that I got. And so at that point I didn't know him, I knew his music and that shit, but I sent him beats. He recorded over some of them, but you know, the relationship was really just like virtual and all that. But then we saw each other at a handful of times, just at like shows, open mics, like different kinds of things like that. And once we got in the studio, I feel like at some point I was like, yo, like where do you record at? And he was like, come through. That's when it really popped off. I feel like within like a month of him coming over for the first time, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe it was 2 months, but like within 2 months of him coming over for the first time, we started recording Don't Be Stupid.
But that's the first tape that you had put out, right?
Yeah, that he and I did together, yeah. So I say that to say it was just, you know, once we clicked, I think he and I just connected like musically and just like as bros.
Yeah.
The cold sweats, still a known threat. Light up your spot like gold tanks. They hate you from afar, but
it was an idea I've had forever. Like as long as I've wanted to produce and make music, this was like what I wanted to do, is projects like this. I mean, probably because I was so fascinated with Wu-Tang and that kind of shit. I realized as I started to make music that, like you said, having so many people in it is gonna be hard. And so it needed to be something that wasn't forced. It couldn't be something where I'm handpicking people and like, I want you on this beat and you on this beat and all that, because that just doesn't work like that. It needs to be a lot more organic than that. And so as much as this is something I've always wanted to do, I kind of sat and waited and just like worked on music with all these different people that I've been doing organically, and at some point sat back and was like, shit, like this is it, this is the time, like I can do this now. Like I've got enough people coming through on a regular basis. I've been talking to people about this idea for a long time. People seem to fuck with it. Like by the time I did it, it wasn't that hard because I had been talking about it and I had the right people around me.
I got a champion's resolve.
It was pretty crazy. Like some of the sessions were nuts. Like it felt like some of the bros would come through there. Like I feel like we're like the Avengers. Like it's just like it's like deep of like bars and like just like lyrical content. But what I thought was the dopest was how rap to me is like one of the only musical genres that's a sport. Like it's these guys get competitive with the bars and all that. And so they were really pushing each other. And it was so fun to see someone go up, spit a verse. Everyone else is in the room after they're done recording. Some of these guys are looking at their phones, start erasing what they wrote. They gotta rewrite it because they just heard what he wrote, whatever. Like that kind of stuff I thought was real dope.
And everybody that's on the tape, like you guys were in the same studio at the same time?
No, like all the songs we recorded, like, you know, whoever's on that track, we recorded it together at my spot. You know, there's always going back and making edits and shit like that, but no, I mean, we recorded it all together.
Keeping it cool, it's on site when I see you like we was meeting on.
They were some of the earliest people that I worked with in some stuff. Like I remember I was doing early stuff, just beats, going to open mics, whatever, and Sekou was somebody that I connected with who's in BasementGang, and he hit me up and he's just like, yo, let's work on some stuff. I had heard his project, he had heard my stuff, like it would blend, and I thought he was dope. And so from there, got to know JuneTheKid, who's in BasementGang, really solid rapper, like really nuts rapper. He and Sekou are both insane. Now Righteous Emcee is also in BasementGang. He was somebody I was working with separately from that. And so really, like, I feel like some of my roots and some of the earliest connections I have in the local scene here in music are the people on this album. BasementGang definitely included in that.
Open doors, hammer strike with thunder like a war with Thor. Like
life or death.
It's the sound I like. I mean, I also like other stuff. I don't want to make it sound like that's the only stuff that I listen to, but like that's the stuff I feel like I grew up on. Like maybe it's dumb to say, but like that's what's the music that's like inside of me. And so that's part of the reason that I named the album Things I Can't Speak About, because sometimes it's easier to talk through the music than it is with words. It's, you know, it's easier to convey an emotion for me maybe through a beat than it is through words at times. So for me, all the stuff you talked about, from the transitions to bringing it all together, that's me speaking. That's, you know, the same way that these guys are rapping and you know, bringing that aspect to life. That's what I can bring. And I think for me, it's just, you know, the craftsmanship is probably trying to do it the best that I can, because otherwise why do it?
Proof that I'm on that fabric of rappers who's been carrying the.
Speak on the music part first. I mean, as a kid, she would keep I would sit on the piano bench with her. She'd have my back to the piano. She'd be playing on the piano. She'd play a chord, play other notes, and she'd want me to be able to tell her, is that in key? Does that fit in key? Because she was the piano player in the church, and she was like, you got to be able to play with whatever the vocalist is going to bring to you, because they're going to have some song that you don't know and whatever, and so you just got to be able to fit with what they have. And so that was her whole piece about just like being able to play by ear. Little did she know that I was going to go on to make sample-based music, and she really taught me how to do that, because as much as you can play like notes on a keyboard, on a guitar or whatever, there's no notes on a sample. Like, you don't know what key the sample's in. I mean, you can kind of guess at it, but when you're blending different samples together, that's all playing by ear. It's all the exact same thing that she taught me. And so she really taught me how to do a lot of the stuff that I do without realizing that she was, I guess. No, and in my life, she passed away when I was in 6th grade.
Sorry to hear that.
No, but I mean, you know, she definitely is a big influence, and I think about that when I make music. I think about all of that, and I'm grateful for, you know, the time I got and what she taught me and all of that, and, you know, wish she could see what I'm doing.
Nah, it's tough. She is, bro. Looking down on you, and for sure, probably happy that she brought that piano lesson to you.
Yeah. Biggie, cause you would fit my style. Popeyes, spicy chicken sandwich.
Ooh.
Wingstop. Speed. You wouldn't have to travel anywhere. You wouldn't have to fly. You wouldn't have to drive. I would never be late. I probably still would be late. Vision, because yeah.
You need your ear.
Yeah. Maybe the Flash, because then I wouldn't have to travel anywhere. Already got me thinking about that. I feel like this question is kind of fucked up, because I would pay to go to space. So it's space. Forest, because I would know where I would know it more. Gee, I'm gonna put my feet in sneakers. What's up? This is Ace P. This has been the Come Up series. Shout out to G-Nice TV for having me come through. Go stream my new album, Things I Can't Speak About. Hit me up on Instagram at AceP_production. Appreciate y'all.
Shit no more. Black on both sides, I've been feeling like yes and bae. Gotta total the track every time that we lay. Niggas love to play crazy till they meet something that's far from safe. Niggas don't know, it's like one that don't know how to play spades. Please don't throw shade. One across your jaw can make you two.